Guys, welcome back. In this video, we are going to discuss about formula and different types of cell references available in Excel. So what is formula in Excel? In Excel, formula is an expression that performs calculation or operation on data in your Excel worksheet. So it performs an operation on your data. It may be arithmetic or operation or the text operation. So the formula always begins with a sign equal to. So for example, if you want to type formula, it's always start with equal to sign. So you need to start typing equal to and write your formula. And what are the components in the formula? Components in the formula, maybe the first thing is the cell reference, which cell you are performing the operation. For example, this formula I am operating data doing some operation in the data in the A1 cell. So I am typing here A1. So in formula, there may be cell reference which we are performing the operation, and there is also may contain arithmetic operations like plus sign, minus sign, multiplication sign, or division sign. And I already told you there will be a cell reference in the formula, and also in the formula may contain the function, predefined functions available to perform some operations like summing of group of numbers or taking average of functions or finding the absolute value of the function. So there are different predefined functions available in the Excel, like mathematical expression or the text operation functions, text functions. So we will go through that all functions in detail in the next video, but I am just giving an introduction to this formula here. So when I am typing equal to A1 and performing a mathematical operation in A1, I am just adding 1 with value of the cell A1. So you can see that I added A1 plus 1. So by default there is no value here. So if I enter 10 here, you can see that is working. This formula is working. It's a simple mathematical operation. So you are adding 1 to the value in the A1. What is A1? A1 is a cell reference. So cell reference is always contains column and row number. So if I'm referring this cell, this means that the column name is M and row number is 7. So this cell reference, the reference of this cell is M7, also called as a cell address. What is cell address means? It's always start with the column name and row number. So if you type here like D3, and it will bring you to that cell. So I'm typing E5 here and pressing enter key, so it will bring you to the particular cell. So the cell reference is basically the address of that cell, representing by the column, which column it is in, and which row it is in. So intersection of the column and row. You can't refer like the cell reference as a row and column like this. For example, if I'm typing here equal to 1A, you can't type like that. So what happens? Excel give you an error message here. We found type in your formula and try to correct to A1. So the correct way of representing the formula is like first column number, column name, and row number. So Excel is suggesting that you have the typo in your formula. Do you want to correct it? Do you want to accept the correction? So if I click yes, then it will convert to right way. So always use like the first column and row number. So in the Excel, there is three types of formulas. Three types of the cell reference exist. Let's see what is that. So I just explained this in the cell. In the formula, there is three types of the components exist, like symbols like multiplication, division, or addition. So this is for the addition, this for subtraction, and this for the multiplication. These are the operators, mathematical operations possible with the inside the formula. So also there will be a cell reference. Which cell indicates that which cell used in the calculation. For example, A1, B2. So it's referring A1 is the column, A is the column, and 1 is the row number. Here B is the column and 2 is the row number. And also in the formula may contain the predefined functions. So let's go to next section. So down. Okay. So in the Excel, there is three types of cell references. So first is called a relative reference, and absolute reference, and mixed reference. So let's see each by one by one. What is the relative reference? Relative reference is nothing but it's just like normal cell reference. Like just I showed you, like A1 is the relative reference. What is a relative reference means? If you copy that formula to another cell, it keeps the relative position of that cell. So let's see what happens here. So here formula is A1. So if I am copying this formula to next row, what happens formula here? So it becomes A2. So if you are copying in the row, its row number is relative, but it's referring to the same column, but the A2 is changing. So if I keep copying here in each cell, you can see that in the top here it's changing, like the row number is changing. So it's relative. So relative row reference. So when I'm copying to the column the same formula, what happens here? Like here, you can see that the column name is changing. Like here it was A1, B1, C1, D1. See, it's referring to relatively. So if you press here and press F2, you can see that which column it's referring now. Here, when you press here and click function key F2 in your keyboard, then you can see that it's referring to this cell A1, and here it's referring to this one. So it's referring here C2 and D2 and so on. So this formula is called a relative formula. So let me remove this. And what is the absolute formula? Next we can discuss with what is the absolute formula. So to make an absolute, for example, this value, when copying this value, you need to get the same value in all the Excel wherever you are copying. So same value, if you want to get the same value. So in the formula, what I will do, put a $sign here and $sign here. So you are saying that make this column as a constant and this row as a constant wherever you are copying. So it's referring as an absolute reference. This is called absolute reference. Sorry, let me go back and fix that. So this is the absolute reference. So I am referring this column as an absolute. So let's see what happens when I copy this anywhere. This value won't change. So you can see that this value is not changing. It's always A1 there. So if I copy here, the value will be constant. So wherever you are copying this formula, its value will be referring to cell A1. So if I copy down here, so what is the value? Is A1. So this is called absolute reference. So if you want to refer this cell in anywhere in the Excel worksheet or workbook, then you use the formula like that. Put a $sign in front of column and $sign in front of rows. So this is called absolute cell reference. So if I change value here, you can see that it will change all values here because this said absolute reference. Let's go back there. So absolute reference, this reference remains constant. This reference remains constant regardless where the formula is copied. So this indicated by $sign. For example, $1. When you copy formula in the absolute reference, it will always refer to specific cell. It won't change. So this is called absolute formula. So relative formula without using the $sign. So A2 is a relative formula. And there is a third type called mixed reference. What is mixed reference? You can make row or column absolute. For example, in this example, you can see that $A1. So I am making column name as an absolute, but row is relative. So in this case, I am making the column as a relative, then row as absolute. So what this means, like the reference combines both relative and absolute. You can fix either row or column as an absolute reference. For example, this and this. So let's see what happens when you're copying the formula, absolute formula. So here, we remove this and this. So here, I'm making row as an absolute value. So let's see what happens here. When I'm copying this in the row, what happens? It's fixing the row value as an absolute. Then if I copy here in this, what happens? Why it's happening here? See, row, the column number is relative. So you can see that it's changing here. So when you copy this formula, because this is the row is absolute, so row will be always constant. It's referring to row 1, A and row 1. So when you go here, the column is always 1. Sorry, column is always row is always 1 here. So when you copy here, it's the column become relatives. So let me put the other way. So if I am copying, making formula like this, so what happens here? Then I copy it back here. So this formula, now the A is constant here. When I'm copying this to here, so row become constant. So this is called mixed reference. So in the formula, there may be a situation like we need to use the relative, absolute, or mixed references based on your scenario. So today I'm wrapping up with this introduction to the formula. So just wrapping up and just a recap, there is a three in the formula. There is three kind of components available, like the arithmetic operations or the operators, and a reference, cell reference, and a formula. And when you're talking about the cell reference, there is a three types of cell references available: relative reference, absolute reference, and mixed reference. In the relative reference, you just use the column name and the row number, and the absolute reference, you use a dollar sign in front of row and column. So that makes that cell as a constant, so it won't change when you're copying anywhere in the worksheet. And a mixed reference, either you can make the column as an absolute or row as an absolute. It's like this. So thanks for watching, guys. So we will start with all formula and how it works in Excel in the next video. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.